Canadian trickery has always been a thing, from Trudeau's money laundering to his weird foreign interests. But today's video isn't political, it's economic. And this is about a new term on the block of a technical recession. What the hell is that, and how does it impact us? That's what this video is gonna break down. So point number one that I want to make is that the government wants to confuse the general public with economic jargon. So the point of using words like quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, qualitative this, it's about confusing the average Joe plumber and lower class Sally. Now I know I always pick on lower class Sally in these videos, but she's just so trashy. Now the point of government and the central bank is to create a stable and flourishing economy. That's the point in theory. Keep it moving, keep it rolling, keep all the worker bees somewhat happy, and life is good. Now in theory, that's what they're trying to do, but it doesn't work out that way. And when they do mess up, which they're gonna mess up a lot because half the people in the cabinets and working the government aren't qualified to be there. They never run a business. They never had to deal with employees. They never had to deal with projects in the real world. They just come out of college fresh from reading theory out of a book, and they're put in to run the government. It's absolutely insane. Now, if you do get real business people put in the government, number one, they don't want to do it because there's no money in it. They can make way more money in the private sector and just go, fuck you, bye-bye, and just live their life on the beach. But the ones that do want to do it, who have narcissistic traits of weirdness, you know, Donald Trump, hey, like him or hate him,
that dude's a narcissist.
But it's worked out for his success, that's for sure. Anyway, when you put a guy like that in the government who knows how business runs, who knows how to do things, it kind of improves economically. He says weird things. He says shitty tweets. I get you. I feel you. But he was one of the better economic presidents in a long time. And that data is coming out. And in history, decades from now, as much as we thought the world was going to implode under this guy, it didn't implode. There was no war started under him. And economically, he was pretty decent, actually. We're going to find out more and more about that. But anyway, back to my point. When you have people that don't know what they're doing, don't know how to run shit in the real world, they're going to make mistakes. And when they do, they're going to want to cover their tracks by using more jargon, more...
We like to say people kind.
The general public truly believes that Tiff McClem and Justin Trudeau got shit handled. They do. The polls are clear. They believe inflation will come down. They believe things will get better. And that's just the truth of it. Now, has Tiff McClem ever run a real business and real budgeting and monetary policies in the real world? I don't know. I don't think he has. So as private citizens, it's your duty to educate yourself about financial markets, how the world works, how things spin, how money works, how compound interest works. And this is what this channel is all about, is getting you, middle class people, lower class people, upper class people, into the wealthy category, just like I did. I am a broke carpenter. That's where I came from. My family was a family of carpenters. I also became a carpenter. I lived my whole childhood with financial stress over my head. My parents always fighting and worrying about money. I too, when I started out as an early adult, same thing. I was destined for brokenness until I got into real estate investing and used my carpenter skills and my carpenter knowledge and applied it to real estate investing. I became a self-made billionaire. No daddy's money didn't exist. No silver spoon. I got none of that, okay? I did all the shit myself. That's right. And you can too. It's easier than you think when you invest in quality real estate, which is what this channel is all about. But I digress. Point number two, a technical recession, which is what we're hearing all the time, is 2 quarters back to back of negative GDP. That's what officially in the economic books says we're in a recession. But all the political people right now, everybody in power is going, no.
You know, we're only in a technical recession. You know, the economy's still growing.
It's not too bad. And that might be the case in the US. We know that they just had a crazy GDP growth print in Q3. Probably not gonna be the same in Q4, but their economy has been growing decently this past year, all with people having less savings, inflation being higher, housing going through the roof, and, you know, not being able to afford it with the payments. Okay, but their economy's still growing. What have we just learned last month in Canada? We've had 2 quarters of 0 GDP growth. Q3 was also 0 as well. We just found that out. So that's 3 in a row. And Q4 is likely going to be negative. However, if you strip out immigration, like we always say, from those GDP numbers, which we get a giant boost, by the way, to GDP when we bring in a fucking million people. I wonder why. They're buying cars, they're buying jewelry, they're buying food, they're buying houses. A lot of them are buying houses. Don't kid yourself. They're coming with money. Okay, they're buying houses, they're buying clothes, they're stimulating the economy. If you were to strip that kind of artificial fake boost out of there, the real Canada has been actually negative GDP. And that's been the case since January 1st, 2023. 3 quarters in a row of 0 GDP, which we know is actually negative. And Q4 is likely predicted to be negative. Even with the population growth, it's not going to matter. We're going so bad, it's going to be negative. So we've been in a recession all year. And again, the way the governments look at their data, it's all lag data. We talk about this all the time on this channel. It's fake data. It's wrong. Nobody looks at real live data because they're not educated in business and economics. They're just following the textbook. And we know that by the time, it says we are in a recession, oh my God, they've gone too far. And that's been the top economist prediction for Canada, is we've overdone it. We've raised rates way too high, way too quick, and they're going to come down just as fast as they came up because they're going to U-turn like a motherfucker once we are officially in a recession, which is probably going to be decided somewhere around February, March, April. It's probably going to come in that, okay, Q4 was actually negative. We revised Q3, also negative. Oh my God, we're in a really bad recession. Stimulate, cut. And they're going to come down just as fast as they came up. Look at history. It's always done this. I talk about this all the time on my channel. If we look at the graph, interest policy rates in Canada going back to 1992, every single time they've come up in a dramatic fashion, they immediately U-turn. Every single time. Higher for longer? Where? It's never happened in Canadian history. Why are they telling the truth this time? Remember when he said rates will be low for a long time? Lie. Remember when he said inflation would be transitory? Don't worry about it. It'll pass through quick? Lie. Now they're saying we got to hold these rates higher for longer. Lie. Why is he telling the truth this time? They said the exact same thing back in 1992. We got to hold these rates higher for longer. Pivot. It's the economic playbook. These boys just get handed the fucking playbook. I don't know. They're not looking at real data, but we do. Point number 3, smart people are leaving Canada in droves. And it's not the normal amount. Yeah, I know people always leave Canada. No, it's a lot of people. Okay, doctors, dentists, people in high profile positions are leaving Canada to go to the US. Why? More opportunity. The economy is growing, but most importantly, they're getting paid way more. For example, doctors, lawyers, dentists, all those top positions, people are literally leaving Canada and making double the salary. Okay, so doctors here typically make about 150, 200,000. I know, you think it'd be way more, but that's the average for a good surgeon, 150, 200,000. That's a joke, okay? They can immediately cross the border and work in the US and make 400, 500, 600 immediately. So Canada isn't competitive anymore. It's not drawing in talent. In fact, it's losing talent. With taxes being so high, with the regulation of where it is, keeping the housing market into a crisis because we can't build enough because the government just won't get the fuck out of the way and let the private sector build because it costs too much money in fees and regulations and development charges. The country's not moving. Take note. America has been moving. Their GDP has been growing this whole time, even with higher interest rates. Yes, they're going to hit a wall soon. It's going to happen. But they've been growing pretty decently while we've been shrinking and losing people. And most importantly, investors, builders, developers are all leaving Canada in droves to go to the US. Again, lower taxes, less regulation, better landlord-tenant board rules. We're losing the housing providers that we desperately need, causing more of a housing crisis, causing rent prices to go up, causing housing prices to go up. We're not building enough, and the people who can build them are leaving. Bad. Now, the next point I want to make is that the media machine, legacy media specifically, gets paid by selling fear. I mean, you already knew that, but maybe you didn't really know that. So like when you read a headline, when you see something on the news, you really got to take a sophisticated investor approach, is what I like to call it, and peel the onion. What are they actually saying? And why are they saying it? I mean, if they say it in a certain way, oh my God, the housing market is falling off a cliff. Foreclosures are up 400%. Anybody would read that headline and go, oh my God, foreclosure up 400%? That's crazy. Yeah, it went from 0.01% to 0.03%, or like whatever the fuck it is. Like the foreclosure rate in Canada is so low, even still, historically so low. But when they say things like, the foreclosure rate is up 400%, yeah, technically, I guess it was up 400%. But is it something to be concerned about? No. But when you tie it with, well, inflation, the economy, the recession right around the corner, and then you see the headline, foreclosures are up 400%. Again, we got to dive deep in the numbers. What is the 400%? What does that exactly mean? That's just one example, obviously. But you got to apply that kind of thinking to pretty much every article that you see or read. So on this channel, yes, we listen to the news, we read the news, but we also dissect it, look at the real live data, what's going on. What's going on with inflation? What's going on with consumer goods? What are the prices for commodities, oil, gasoline? We look at all those things on this channel, and nobody looks at those things. Nobody reads the monetary policy reports that come out of Canada and the US, but we do, because we're nerds, and we like to know what's actually going on so we can make informed decisions on our investing strategies. So while we might be in a technical recession and we both know we're in a real recession, it doesn't have to be a recession for you, which is the whole point of my channel. Yes, we talk about the bad stuff, we break down the bad news, but what do we do about it? That's what I like to do. I'm not a doomsday YouTuber making my money by just talking about fear and spreading the fear just like CNN and CBC. That's disgusting. What I like to do is, okay, but now what? And it always comes down to pretty much the same principle of investing. That's how you beat the system. That's how you beat the matrix. Whether you are a investor in stocks, in crypto and Bitcoin, or like myself, mainly in real estate, whatever your thing is, you gotta find a thing and put money to it every single week, every single month. For example, if you invest in the stock market, the easiest thing you can do right now is put $100 a week or $100 a month, whatever you can afford, into the S&P 500. Don't try and pick stocks. You ain't gonna win, okay? Don't try and pick Apple, Amazon, Tesla at the bottom and catch the, don't do it, okay? You'll get smacked around. Just invest in the S&P 500, hold it for decades, years if you can, and you will be successful. More successful than just working at Joe's Parlor or as a plumber and not investing at all, which is the vast majority of what Canadians do and Americans do. Nobody invests. I don't understand, especially the generation of millennials and Gen Z. I don't know. Nobody's investing. It's not cool. It's not sexy. It is sexy, dude. There's nothing more sexy than investing and growing that money and doing whatever the hell you want, traveling the world wherever you want, living wherever you want, getting out of Canada if that's what you want. You can only do those things with money. Okay, money is amazing. Money is a tool. Learn how to use the tool. They don't teach you this in school. They don't teach you this in college. They don't teach you about taxes. They don't teach you about write-offs, all the benefits you get for starting your own business. Half of you watching this video who work for an employer, if you just went self-employed and made your own corporation and still worked for that same employer as a subcontractor, you would make way more money. You pay way less taxes. You would be able to write off your cell phone, your car, your gas, whatever you're using for your jobs, your clothes, if you work in a sales job, whatever. You could write off so many things doing the exact same job for the same employer. They don't care. You're still working for them doing the exact same thing. Why should they care? You haven't proposed it. It's insane. If you're in construction, watch this, especially in construction. If you're a plumber, if you're an apprentice carpenter, apprentice tiler, I don't care what you're doing. If you just work for your employer as a self-employed subcontractor and you incorporate yourself, instead of paying 30, 40, 50% taxes, you pay 15 max percent taxes. Whether you make $1 or $3 million, you only pay 15% tax in a corporation. And like I said, you can write off all your shit. All your life pretty much gets written off. Did you know that? Did you know that? I don't think you knew that. And that's the problem. That's why they use big economic terms like quantitative tightening, quantitative easing, blah, 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 monetary policy. You know how many people don't know what monetary policy is? Right now, for you, what's the difference between monetary policy and fiscal policy? You probably don't even know that. Are you kidding me? They don't want you to know that. But on this channel, we make sure you know all this stuff so you can invest and crush. I will see you in the next video.